So number 2 on the agenda is this old girl. This is Beverly. If you're not an Edmontonian, you wouldn't get that joke. She needs some new strings, so I'm going to slap some new strings on her. And I'm going to have another rant here about people who own a gazillion guitars and they string them all the same and tune them all the same and they use the same gauge of strings. I don't understand that. So this girl here, obviously Japanese, don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but it's pretty obviously plywood this thing's made out of. You can see it through the finish. She's got one of these skinny necks. They were copying what Kalamazoo was doing at the time. And I find this thing a pig to like solo on or anything like that, but it's a great rhythm guitar. So it's strung heavy and tuned down to D under very high tension. There's very little room to bend this thing. Bending especially the upper strings is a pig. And that's exactly the way I want it. This is for tight rhythm work. I use this thing all the time when I'm recording. So let's set up a guitar for tight, heavy rhythm. Nice, heavy strings. There's a bunch of people out there scared. Whatever. I find it hilarious when I go to music stores. I had to buy 2 sets of strings, one for backup for Mick. That confuses people. They probably figure I got an 8-string or something. Yeah, so again, this is a guitar that I string heavy, very high tension. And I'll show you how to do that. A lot of people ask about when do you wrap over and when do you wrap through on a stud tailpiece like this. Really, the biggest reason why people should be wrapping over is if that break angle is incorrect between the bridge and the tailpiece. Sometimes the strings will hit these screws and stuff, so you have to go over. Some people will say tone. Yeah, whatever. The reason why I do it is, on certain guitars, is this will add even extra tension there. Like I'm reefing on that and it's barely moving and the high strings are basically cutting me. So that's going to make it even stiffer here. So when I'm playing low stuff, this string ain't flopping. It's just a solid tone. So, yeah, that's my excuse. I'm living with it. It's getting cloudy out. Holy crow. Normally, I prefer to change strings one at a time unless I'm doing some sort of work to it. Simply because, again, this is a guitar that was built to a price point, not to a quality point. And therefore, this neck's under a lot of tension. Doesn't like it. Truss rod works great on this thing though, so I'm not going to complain. So I'm just going to do one at a time. I might loosen these off to clean it because it's grungy. I tend to find that I clean my guitars once every 5 years, whether they need them or not. Just realized I'm not quite sure when the last time I oiled this fretboard was. I can't remember the last time I changed the frets. So there's a dealio. I'm just going to throw a little bit of water on it. That's probably not going to catch. I'm just going to see if it's going to remain in a puddle or get sucked in here. A little extra light on the subject. It's staying puddled, so I don't need to throw any more oil on that neck. She's fine. I mentioned in the last video about how much string to use for string tension. So on this one, because I want it tight, I'm going 4 fingers, and that's pressing into my flesh, into the blubber there. So this is going to be very tight, and with that wraparound, it's going to be super tight, which is where I want it. Again, you ain't going to solo on this thing too easy, but that's not the point of it. It's for rhythm stuff. Not entirely sure this thing's going to catch this, but like, these new strings are like 5 times brighter than the old strings. Old strings sure stink too. And they've been used. I should probably clean this thing better one of these years. Yeah, well. Okay, strings are on. Them stiff. That's the way I want them. So now I gotta stretch the crap out of these cable ties, which is gonna do a number on me. So again, don't be wimpy on these things. Stretch this. What I'm doing. String's going across here. It's going across my thumb. I'm stretching it. And I'm going to use my other hand to run the string up, or to run my finger up and down the fretboard while I'm lifting up on it. Stretch the crap out of your strings, and then you don't run into tuning problems. So, there. Okay, strings are stretched. She's in the tuning she's in. I'm going to pull a rush trick again. We got the piece of old cloth. Just hook it, wrap it around the string, like that. I tend to find heavier strings don't need to be stretched as much. They break in more for some silly reason, but this heat trick really helps them. So that was in tune. Now she's way flat. Awesome trick. I love that trick. Yeah, it's getting dark in here. Must be something blowing in. So, anyways, so she's strung, she's stretched. Check the relief. The relief's still fine on this thing. The height of the string's still fine. It's relatively low. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's just a quick player here. So I'm going to let this sit overnight. And then tomorrow I'll get rid of the streamers. And we'll see if she needs anything else, and we'll take her for a spin. How does that sound? So, just wanted to add one last thing before I took off. This guitar's got a great story when it comes to cheap guitars. I got this on a horse trade with a local dealer here in Edmonton. Swapped the banjo that I had bought for 50 bucks and 200 bucks cash for a bass that he had listed at 300 bucks, and this thing, which was at 150. So I think he completely forgot to factor this thing in. More or less, I got this thing for free. So, so when I got it, he had, I think these are pings that are on here. It had the original pickups. The neck one had coil rot, which happens a lot with budget 70s ones. They crap out. There's no point in rewinding them. I have another guitar where I did this sort of idea where it had a stock humbucker in front and a GFS Me90 in the back, so I decided to do this in reverse, and these are wired out of phase. So this is some sort of budget humbucking size P90. I think this was like 12 bucks. And this is a really, really lame bridge pickup. It's really thin, but sounds great under gain. So I think I'll let these sit, and then I'll show you what this puppy sounds like and how she plays. The thing, man, I got a reef on that to get it to flop. So there you go. So hey, we got Bev here. So all strung up, nice and low, vaguely in tune. So again, these two pickups here ended up costing me like 25 bucks, including shipping. So so this is a neck pickup, which I quite like. It's supposed to be like a P90 and a hum size, but it's got some strattiness to it, which is kind of cool. Which is neat. Bridge pickup's kind of dull. But it's good under gain, which I like. And then they're wired out of phase. Which is great fun. So, and again, D13s, it's a pain to bend on this. Ow. But that's not the point of it. This is for rhythm. So How about some Russian Big Muff, shall we? Like I said, the neck's really skinny, so it's kind of hard to solo on it, but great tones, and like I said, it was about free. Now, question for you. Ooh, Big Muff's making noise. Question for you. Do you think that cost me $1,000? Hell no. And it vibrates for a plywood guitar. I'm a king of cheap guitars, and I'm sticking to it. Happy Turkey Day, Big Earl, Northtown Sound. Later.